Alright boys, welcome back to the Black Clover mobile video. So we have a pretty interesting update that is or could change the future of Black Clover mobile in a way, and that is the addition of now the second skill page. Now do not be confused, because I know we've kind of already done it in the past with Noelle, where she does have two skill pages, but this is the Still Princess one, which to be fair does the same thing on a skill 2, but it is a different passive, which I guess the idea is still the same, right? And this is I guess this was the first test I look at it, but yeah, she does have two different skill pages. I mean, the amount will be 1 and 2, but like at least the icon's different. Where we go back towards the actual JP and KR one, it does look like the actual Julius one is going to be just the same thing, but with a number 2. And interestingly enough, by the way, we'll get into that in a second, but on screen now you can see it. They're supposedly doing this with Noelle, but she has 4 of them. Don't know what's going on, we'll talk about in a second, but let's go over, you know, what this could mean. So right now we don't know what this skill page actually does, which is a little bit of a shame, because I want to know what it does, right? But however, I feel like it's not going to necessarily change the skill page of Julius in terms of like what the actual what it does towards his skill 2. I mean, would they need to do that for future characters? Probably, but to be fair, Julius' skill 2 is pretty good, right? You can see what it does here, like reset stamina at 0, gives him, I mean, he could probably buff up a little bit if they really want to, like maybe 100% time stop at this point, like they kind of need it. You know, chance to apply, or you know, 60, but probably make it 100% chance to decrease stamina by 10% rather than have the chance, and maybe get a bit more speed or whatever they want to do here. Like, this is a fine passive. They could probably just increase it a little bit, but generally speaking, it's kind of fine. But I guess the thing holding back, even though it is pretty decent, but like you can get a bit more crazy with it, is his actual passive of the skill page, which will be changed here, because we saw Noelle, they are two different passives, so it's going to, well, it's not going to be an all attack buff. They could do that and add more onto it if they really want to, or maybe just go with something pretty different. And we've seen how much an actual skill page can, you know, change a character. Of course, the big one is Asta, right? Like, Asta himself is a mediocre character, but in just one simple text that just says increased damage per defense, boom, now this guy is doing 1 million damage when he was doing 10k damage. Like, a skill page can really change a character. So yeah, this is gonna be interesting to see how they're gonna do it. Julius is going to be the first one, and this does open the door to get more buffs towards other characters. Now, are they gonna do it for everyone? Probably not. What I'd like to see him do is go towards the iconic characters, right? The characters that have been like fan favorites in like the Black Clover mobile history, even though the game's been out for only a year now. But like, Summer Noelle is like a perfect example. I get it'll be weird to get her now because we already have Valkyrie Armor Noelle, but like, you know, this, if they really want to, they could probably buff this up, because this generally didn't do anything. But like, the good thing about Summer Noelle, if you were playing when she was around, was the character you had to get her once, and that was kind of it. Like, her weight capacity wasn't that good, really. And her actual skill page buffs generally didn't do anything. Like, you can see it's the exact same. It's just now, if you have an ally, you can heal them. Terrible change. Like, they can actually give her a new skill page and buff that up. And not to mention as well, this right here was terrible too. Like, you would actually rather use Julius' skill page on the actual Noelle. She basically didn't have a skill page, but you can imagine if they just simply gave her a new skill page, you know, number 2, and then boom, they actually gave her a real passive. That can make the character a bit more usable. Still gonna be massively countered because she rolls on barriers, and there's so many things in the meta right now that remove barriers, but I don't think people will be opposed to the idea of it. They can even like rework the character too, so that's like very interesting. In terms of characters straight away, what am I thinking of right now? I guess that's the only one I can think of as like iconic a little bit. I mean, you could arguably go towards any other character, but I guess other than Noelle, it would be the actual like festival characters. So, you know, of course, Black Asta. I like Black Asta could be interesting because, I don't know how it's going to work, because the reason why this guy's so good is because he can't enter anti-magic and then actually be a DPS character. Where if you'd imagine if they actually gave her a new passive, like, it probably won't be better into the DPS, because I doubt you want to do that. So they might even just make it more into a support character and lean more into him being support, which could make him sort of usable in a different situation. Rather than him being a DPS, you can actually make him a support character, and once again, you can always just do that by simply giving him a good passive. He will still have the anti-magic stuff, it's just he won't get that increased defense. If you get what I'm trying to say, they can make him into a tank character. Probably a bit too early to start talking about Mariona and also skill pages, I would say, because is, I doubt you can actually give him a new one, because like, he's actually still decent, and what he actually wants is to rush ultimate, and that's kind of what he has. So for them to give him a new passive would be you have to do the same thing but better. So I doubt we're going to see one for Yuno. Leona could see one a little bit because her skill page, it just makes her do more damage, right? Like it just says, oh, if you have a burn on, then, or your mana skin, there's a chance to do more damage, which at this point later on, and you can imagine if we do get one from Leona, it will be in like a few months time, right? Where her damage isn't the best. And to be fair, she does most of her damage through the actual, you know, the burns anyway. So if they just give her like more ways to like do stuff with her burns, or just give her more attack, that means her burns will actually do more. Like honestly, if they just reverse the actual, you know, attack magic buff for like, you know, Julius skill page, but it gave it for Leona, that might be better. So yeah, I mean, that is kind of it for the actual video, if I'm being honest, because there's not really much to talk about for the JP and KL side, because, well, we don't really care too much about, you know, what's going on, what they're getting, but it's, yeah, very, very interesting. They are getting the Royal Knight Selection Exam event for the looks of it, which is what we had in JP or KR, no, Global, sorry. I don't think JP had it. I think it was a Global exclusive event, and then now JP's getting it. They still haven't gotten that new actual, you know, framework. But I guess I want to talk about the big elephant in the room, is that is just basically them stalling. If we're being honest, that's what they're doing, because they're not releasing characters, because it's been like how long has it been since we got a new character? I know they just got Zora, but like they're very, very slow, and that's something very, very apparent. And I guess the biggest problem right now with Black Clover Mobile is that they're not releasing characters fast enough. Basically, like they've gone down to one seasonal character a month now rather than two, which is not a good sign. And even now, like characters like, you know, Finral, for example, he's been delayed and he's still not out, for example. So it's I'm really hoping the reason why they're doing that is because they're trying to wait for Global to catch up so we can be in sync and then hopefully start picking up the pace a little bit more. But as it is right now, this is just them stalling, if we're being honest. But like, I don't mind it, but that's not at the cost of getting new characters. Like if they're gonna go back and buff Black Asta, but then we don't get a new character, that is not a good look. And I mean, it's yeah, I don't know what else I can say really about it, but if they start doing both things, but they go back and buff old characters and release new characters, I'm fine with it. I don't mind too much. And yeah, to finally wrap up the video, Noelle might be getting a new skill page, which is scary, because the reason why I thought Noelle was so nice and, you know, free-to-play friendly is because her actual paid to win skill page isn't that good. Like, it's just a chance to taunt, and sometimes it doesn't even proc, and you could get up the wrong person, and it's random. It's not like a great skill page in comparison towards Yuno and also, you know, Leona, right? But just imagine we got a new skill page that says, you know, if you're an ally, if someone does an AoE skill, you get a Sea Dragon Spear, you get double or something like that. That would change the character and would make it so you have to summon for that skill page. I mean, to be fair, it releases after the character, so like it's still kind of fine, because I imagine on the banner you can't summon for the character. Because I guess there's one thing I haven't spoken about, but yeah, it is a step up banner where you are guaranteed in 8 summons, which is kind of cool a little bit. JP, once again, banner format is completely different to Global, so there is no point really talking too much about it. But yeah, boys, that is going to wrap up the video. What do you think of like dual skill pages, or getting, you know, another skill page for a character? Is it something that's interesting a little bit? I think it's cool if they go out and buff, you know, all characters. We don't mind it. Is this just a cover up of them not getting characters? That's my biggest worry, is that the reason why they're doing this is because they can't release characters. They're just behind on scheduling. Don't know what it is. So we'll see how much they pump these out. And once we do get the actual information of what Julius actually does, then we'll definitely make a video, because that is something I'm interested in. See how much they actually buff the character. And bear in mind, I guess the one thing you could do as well is just make them more PvE oriented a little bit. I guess you could say maybe it's just only in like raid bosses Julius does like an extra like 500% damage. Who knows? But boys, thank you for watching, and yeah.